On a quiet Sunday afternoon in Princeton, Massachusetts, 27-year-old Vanessa Marcotte went out for a jog near her mother's home and never came back. Her disappearance would trigger a frantic search, shake a small town, and launch a months-long investigation that felt like chasing a ghost. Investigators had almost nothing to work with. No obvious suspect, no clear motive, just a brutal crime in a peaceful town, and the feeling that whoever did this might still be out there. But hidden in the evidence was a microscopic clue, a DNA profile that would eventually point to one man and expose where he had been on that summer afternoon. This is the story of Vanessa Marcotte and how science, persistence, and one observant state trooper helped bring her killer to justice. Vanessa Teresa Marcotte was born in 1989 and grew up in Massachusetts. Friends and family describe her as warm, smart, and driven. She was an only child, close to her mother, and proud of her New England roots. She attended the Bancroft School in Worcester and later Boston University, graduating with honors in communications in 2011. Professionally, Vanessa was thriving. She had worked at marketing and tech companies and eventually became an account manager at Google in New York City. Even after moving to New York, she often returned to Princeton, Massachusetts to visit her mother and aunt, a small rural town of under 4,000 people, about 40 miles west of Boston. It was the kind of place where people left doors unlocked and serious crime was rare. That peaceful image was shattered in August 2016. It was Sunday, August 7, 2016. Vanessa was visiting her mother's home on Brook Station Road in Princeton. Later that day, she was supposed to catch a bus back to New York City. Sometime in the early afternoon, Vanessa left the house for a jog. She was seen stopping at a local market for a drink, and then walking while talking on her phone after 1 p.m. Hours passed. Vanessa didn't come back. Her family quickly realized something was wrong. This wasn't like her. She was responsible, in constant contact, and had travel plans. They contacted the police, and a missing person search began. Officers, K-9 units, and local volunteers searched the roads and wooded areas near the house. They had a rough window of time when she'd gone out, but no idea what had happened. That search would end in the worst possible way. Around 8:20 p.m., searchers made a heartbreaking discovery. Vanessa's body was found off the road on a trail in a heavily wooded area, less than half a mile from her mother's home. Authorities immediately treated this as a homicide. Out of respect for her and for YouTube rules, I won't repeat all the details that came out later, but investigators believed Vanessa had been attacked, sexually assaulted, and strangled, and that she fought back fiercely. Her phone, clothing, and some belongings were missing. A partially burned sneaker was recovered nearby. Crime scene techs collected any possible trace evidence, including foreign DNA. The town of Princeton hadn't seen a homicide in decades. Suddenly, residents were being warned to lock doors, avoid walking alone, and report anything unusual. Authorities believed the attacker might have visible scratches or bruises from Vanessa fighting back. A dedicated tip line was opened. Over time, investigators received more than 1,000 tips from the public, but leads either went nowhere or weren't enough to identify a suspect. The question haunting everyone was simple: who could have done this and why? As months passed, investigators slowly released more information. They said the killer was likely a stranger, not someone Vanessa knew. FBI profilers suggested the attacker probably lived in or frequently visited the area around Princeton, and that he might have returned to the crime scene or followed media coverage closely. Witnesses also reported seeing a dark-colored SUV parked on Brook Station Road around the time Vanessa was attacked. Meanwhile, scientists were working on that crucial trace evidence. Using DNA collected from the scene, investigators were able to build a genetic profile of the suspect, enough to say he was a Hispanic male in his late 20s to 30s, athletic build, average height, short or shaved hair, and that he either owned or had access to a dark SUV. In February 2017, about 6 months after the murder, the district attorney announced publicly that they had this DNA profile and released a basic description, hoping someone would recognize him or come forward with a name. For the public, it was both reassuring and terrifying. DNA meant they were close, but he was still out there. The turning point came thanks to a Massachusetts state trooper who was patrolling in the city of Worcester, not far from Princeton. One day, The trooper noticed a man driving a dark SUV who matched the suspect description from the DNA-based profile. The trooper wrote the license plate number on his hand and later followed up, tracing it to a man named Angelo Colon-Ortiz, a 31-year-old delivery driver living in Worcester. Colon-Ortiz worked as a contractor for a FedEx route and knew the Princeton area well. On the day of Vanessa's killing, a local resident had seen him standing outside that SUV, hood up, talking on the phone near the area where Vanessa later went missing. Cell phone records placed him in the area that afternoon. State police visited his home. According to authorities, he voluntarily provided a DNA sample, a simple cheek swab. When that sample came back from the lab, it was exactly what investigators had been waiting for. The DNA from Angelo Colon-Ortiz matched the DNA found on Vanessa's hands. On April 14, 2017, he was arrested and charged with aggravated assault and assault with intent to rape. Later, a grand jury indicted him on a murder charge. The man who had seemed invisible for months suddenly had a name and a face. After his arrest, Angelo Colon-Ortiz pleaded not guilty and was held without bail as the case moved forward. His defense focused on one key issue: DNA. Lawyers argued that English was not his first language and that problems with the Spanish consent form meant he didn't fully understand what he was agreeing to when police collected his DNA. They asked the court to throw that evidence out. Prosecutors countered that the DNA was the strongest evidence in the case. It directly linked Colon-Ortiz to Vanessa Marcotte and supported investigators' belief that she fought back. In January 2022, a judge made a critical decision. Despite concerns about the consent form, the court ruled that Colon-Ortiz understood police were seeking a DNA sample and that his consent was valid. The DNA evidence would be allowed at trial. But a trial never happened. On October 26, 2022, Colon-Ortiz pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and unarmed robbery. He was sentenced to life in prison, plus 20 additional years, and will not be eligible for parole for 45 years. Vanessa's family agreed to the plea deal, sparing them a long and painful trial. For the community, the case finally had answers. For Vanessa's family, justice brought closure, but never replaced their loss. In the middle of their grief, Vanessa's family decided they wanted something positive to come from this unimaginable tragedy. They created the Vanessa T. Marcotte Foundation, a nonprofit organization that advocates for a world where women can live boldly and safely, free from harassment and violence. The foundation partners with groups to offer self-defense workshops, safety education, and empowerment programs, especially for women and girls. Events like free self-defense classes in Princeton are held in Vanessa's honor to help others feel more confident and prepared. The Vanessa Marcotte case is a powerful reminder of three things. First, how quickly an ordinary day can change, and why safety and awareness matter so much. Second, how forensic science and a single observant officer can crack a case that once seemed unsolvable. And finally, how a family's response to tragedy can inspire real change. If you want to learn more about Vanessa, support the work done in her memory, or find safety resources, you can visit the official Vanessa T. Marcotte Foundation website. Thank you for watching and for remembering Vanessa with me. If you'd like more true crime documentaries told with respect for victims and focused on facts, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know which case I should cover next.